Morning, everyone. August 26, 2020. Shakespeare Sonnet 153, the penultimate sonnet. Patterson dedicates a great number of pages to the breakdown of this particular sonnet. And while it's corroborated by a number of other sources, once again, I'm going to just focus on what he says. Talking about the last two, 53, 54, being a couplet tied together. And how there's a relationship to the Greek Anacrucian school of conceit, as he puts it. I loved reading through this because although I took one Greek drama course in my life, I know a sweet bugger all about the philosophers. I took philosophy as well. I studied it as everyone else did to get the credit, and it never sank, right? I've read Nietzsche, I've read Kant, I've read all of that, but I can't say I've actually read it, right? I read it as somebody who had to read it for class or who wanted to impress somebody. So philosophy, psychology, the study of ancient literature is well beyond me. And so reading through this was incredibly enlightening because Patterson starts with that conversation that other scholars he disagrees with, or he agrees partially with, that Shakespeare was probably influenced by that Greek school, but he couldn't read Greek. So then we go to the conversation about where he might have got that information. And apparently in 1603 there was a Heidelberg translation into Latin, and Shakespeare, the he now, would have gotten this through Ben Jonson. And so he continues on to discuss how Shakespeare could have been heavily influenced by some of the elements of that. There's like the very first line in this, the very first word is Cupid, and there's Diane. So there's lots of reference to the old sonnet poetry style from the Greeks. So then we continue on getting more references to other poets that Shakespeare could have sourced for this. Because while the content seems to be about the Dark Lady, the quality of poem led some, not Patterson, to believe that the authorship of this sonnet was not Shakespeare. So that forced Patterson to dig even deeper to point out the Shakespearean similarities to not just his other sonnets but his other writings. So the interesting thing is a conspiracy theory that this wasn't written by Shakespeare led scholars to dig even deeper to prove that it was and find even more evidence. So it's quite interesting to read this. It's very heavy and I can't go into all of it, obviously. I just love one of the lines about Shakespeare is Shakespeare often has dodgy tastes. I quite love that. So the conversation about the first 6 lines, the second 6 lines, and the relationship, metaphorical relationships to virginity and the Virgin and Diana and Cupid and women's body parts. It kind of relates to the last sonnet where the body parts are very important. There was a lot of body, B-A-W-D-Y, humor involved in a lot of Shakespeare stuff, a lot of sexual humor, and some of it nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So on Patterson goes to talk about 2 words, one in particular, that really drives people nuts. The 2 words are mistresses, apostrophe, I. So that there's lots of breakdown of why the I would be the wrong word. It should be eyes, and some of the other sources that Patterson brings up give a number of reasons why that word I was either misprinted or misspoken, but let me quote Patterson himself. Shakespeare is a poet ruled by ear as much as brain. Therefore, it is very unlikely he intended I, and most likely eyes. However, KDJ, another scholar in short form, I can get to that tomorrow, maybe I'm running out of time here, suggests that Shakespeare might have borrowed it from Chaucer, who calls it the nether eye. So it's instead of morphologically disconcerting, it's good use of the tongue, eh? Phonologically, a huge issue if it's not eyes. So the translation here from Patterson has eyes. I will read it as such. Here's 153. Cupid laid by his brand and fell asleep. A maid of Dian's this advantage found, and his love-kindling fire did quickly steep in a cold valley fountain of that ground, which borrowed from his holy fire of love a dateless lively heat still to endure, and grew a seething bath, which yet men prove against strange maladies a sovereign cure. But at my mistress's eye love's brand new fired, the boy for trial needs would touch my breast. I, sick withal, help of bath desire, and thither hide, a sad distempered guest. But found no cure. The bath for my help lies, where Cupid got new fire, my mistress's eyes. So you can see the two uses of eyes, mistresses, mistress. It's the second one that was the issue. Anyway, the pentultimate. See you tomorrow.